How are you guys doing today?
Hi, good. How are you?
Thank you. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I love the movie. I kind of I haven't seen anything like this before. I want to know like when were you guys first aware of species dysphoria and identity? Because I was like I never heard of it and it hasn't even crossed my mind before until this movie.
Well, I do think it's important to say that while obviously species dysphoria was a a big inspiration and obviously a big kind of jumping off point for us in this story, like I don't think that we could go as far as to say that it's like a totally accurate depiction of that because obviously we're not doctors or anything, but definitely a fascinating subject matter to dive into for sure.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it until the script. But in a sense, it was. Although it's such a kind of specific condition, and also the characters in the script, they're going through such a specific circumstance. But I think it's kind of what drew me to the script was more a kind of a general feeling, or not general is the wrong word, but a wider feeling of when you don't feel kind of comfortable in yourself. To varying degrees and for different reasons. I think that's something that almost everyone has felt at some point, and that this was just a kind of very kind of clear and quite extreme version of that feeling, and therefore could kind of speak to that feeling in this very specific way.
George, how did you go about like because your movements as a wolf and even the howl and everything, like how did you go about like preparing for this role? Did you have to study wolves or anything, or how did you go
Yeah,
about
it
it?
was a mixture. So there was like, so we started out. We had like a week of rehearsal before we were due to begin a larger portion of rehearsals, and in that week, we just was kind of looking at what it was to be wild, but even before the wolf, but to kind of to not be human, and felt that the kind of maybe a difference between like humans and animals is the level of, not the level of, but the amount of thought, in the way that humans were constantly checking ourselves, like, and kind of listening to ourselves, and watching each other, and it's quite a kind of heady way of being, and finding a kind of calmer, more instinctful way of being was the key into the animal. So we started with that, and then once we found that, that kind of opened up the movement side of things, and we just kind of got to it in terms of crawling. And I watched a lot of wolf videos and read a lot of wolf books, and Natalie and I went to see some wolves actually as well, and just kind of studied them for the bits that we thought were kind of defining characteristics on an outside level, and then going back to that beginning work to try and understand the character on the inside.
Hey Lily, your roles seems like they're so different. I like from every previous one. Like I want to know how you go about picking your roles because it seems like every role is just different from each one.
Well, thank you
Like,
so much. I really appreciate you noticing that. I mean, I think that that's like definitely something that I go for, and that I feel like would be like exciting to any actor, is being like, wow, this is like unlike anything I've ever seen before or anything I've ever taken on before, and I'm really like particularly intrigued by sorry, that challenge of being like, I've never done anything like this. Can I even do this? Like, I feel like that feeling of like, okay, I really want to do this, but how am I going to do it? And how am I going to do it right? And everything is like fuel to me of like, wanting to kind of really pour my heart and soul into it. But yeah, I definitely am intrigued by, taking on roles that feel like unlike anything I've done before. And, yeah, definitely into that.
and my last question for both of you: if you guys were in your character's position, what animal would you be, or pretended to be, or
To identify as, I think like I actually, the kind of wolf makes a lot of sense in ways that there's like there's a version that is the kind of lone wolf where you're sort of off on your own path, but there's also like the pack, the wolf pack, and the kind of the family dynamic is something that really rings true as well. So I think I might go for wolf, but or if it was just, I think a dolphin seems like a really good way of life as well.
that's a
So
good.
yeah.
I'm honestly, I might have to go with a cat because I don't know. I feel like whenever I've told like friends or like just people that know me really well, like, oh yeah, I did this movie where I played this girl who feels that she's a wildcat and everything. I've like gotten a lot of people being like, oh yeah, like I can see that. So I feel like I would just have to say a cat just for that reason. And I like cats. I think I think they're really cool.
Where is the buzz? Oh,
Where is the buzz? You
We
said
used to be a
was
singer group.
mine, oh
Oh,
mine.
where is the buzz?
Woo!